I want to first recognize our team and specialized support group hosts at PBNSG who lead the monthly support group meetings through our membership platform. As our founder, Paul Chatlin, likes to say, we are together as one, and we have the same passion of helping others find success in this plant-based lifestyle. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Karen Smith. I'm a dietitian and diabetes educator. I currently work at the Barnard Medical Center in Washington, D.C., doing lots of telehealth visits and facilitating group programs there. And for those who are new to PBNSG events, we're a nonprofit organization dedicated to evidence-based education and advocacy of plant-based whole foods nutrition to help individuals prevent or reverse chronic disease and achieve optimal health. We welcome you to join our membership platform, which gives access to live virtual events, cooking demos, specialized support groups, event recordings, and more. Additionally, visit our website, pbnsg.org. I'll drop that in the chat box in a second to check the calendar, find upcoming events, subscribe to our newsletter, and visit our shop page to order merchandise, which is where you will also find our perfectly plant-based cookbook. The cookbook download is available for free for members on the products tab of the membership page. And don't forget that our free monthly virtual community support group meetings are the second Thursday of each month. So that will be next week. Registration for the monthly meetings can be found at pbnsg.org under the support groups tab. Members also have to register for the free meetings, but not for other meetings or events. Those of you who use social media can find us on most platforms, and please pass along our information to family and friends. All right, so I know we're all in for an amazing treat this evening because the title of this is Life with Paul as Dad. And I don't know that Paul Chatlin needs much of an introduction, being the founder of PBNSG. He was born in Detroit, Michigan, and has lived in West Bloomfield, Michigan since 1971. In May of 2013, he was diagnosed with heart disease. He had a heart catheterization, which ruled out a heart transplant, thankfully, but it showed he needed triple bypass surgery. One artery was 100% blocked, and two others were each 65% blocked. Add to the leaky valves an enlarged heart, the thickening of the right side of his heart, a left bundled branch block, and heart murmur. Paul, that's a lot.
It was not a good period of time, let me tell you.
Paul was in seriously bad shape. His cardiologist gave him two options, bypass surgery or plant-based nutrition. He chose plant-based nutrition. After just 3 weeks, thanks to Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, his angina disappeared. His cholesterol levels dropped from 347 to 127, and today it is at 100. Paul lost 65 pounds, has kept it off, and feels great. And we are also joined by Paul's sons, Dan and Matt.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Dan, you're in Illinois, and the proud dad of an 18-month-old daughter, Noah. He lives with his fiance, Samantha, and has a puggle, Bugsy, and a Shih Tzu, Charlie, and like Paul, works in phone sales. And Matt, the older brother, from what I understand, lives in Michigan. So thanks so much for joining us for this really interactive chat tonight. I was told by Paul that we're all in for a lot of laughs.
Well, hey,
There's
Karen.
one.
Yeah, Daniel got the great bio.
Yeah. Hey, let's do a
Because I
laugh
was here early. I was punctual.
We'll do a laugh meter. We'll do a laugh meter. Hey, Karen, thank you. All right, thank you so much. And give me a shout if you have any questions about what I emailed you. Hello, everybody. Let me, if I could, I got a list of questions I'm going to ask my sons, but let me first start with, like I said, couple pictures. There's Matt and Dan's swimming, doing their laps. Okay, look at these, how close they are. Then this is handsome Matt and Dan's, super handsome. All right, look at this is running Matthew and okay, that was good. You like that, Matt and Dan's? That was good.
All good
stuff.
Yeah.
Have you guys had to deal with these jokes your whole life?
This is Daniel.
They've only gotten better too, right?
They're not jokes.
Daniel graduating.
Yeah.
And this is Paul when he weighed 230 pounds. Okay,
Mhm.
we're done. The meeting is over. All right. So, Matt and Dan, first, thank you so much for doing this. I've been wanting to do this, guys, as you know, for a long time. And by the way, if it is what I think it is, we're going to start doing this every week. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. So let me just start. We'll do a couple serious questions. You guys, please answer them as best you can, and then I got some stories I want to get your input on. First, tell me about Daniel. Start with you. What's it like being a dad? You got an 18-month-old, our granddaughter, Uncle Matt. Tell me what it's like being a father.
It's the best thing that's ever happened to me. Not that I would call myself a selfish person, but now I'm definitely selfless. Uh, she's beyond fun. She's so cool to be around. She laughs, she giggles, she tells me what to do. It's unspeakable. I love it. If it was up to me, I'd have three more right now. But it's been so fun. Everything from her eating to singing the alphabet to crying to changing diapers. It's all so cool. There was never really a moment, that I've really felt overwhelmed. Except for one time. I take that back. There was one moment she got hand, foot, and mouth. That is some bad, bad stuff, and I was terrified. But other than that, it's just been the greatest victory of my life. I love being her dad.
Dude, I just want to interject and say, like everything you've said, you are the perfect person that should be a father. Because saying all that, man, I mean, it's
Thanks.
just, yeah.
No, she makes it easy. My fiance is an amazing mom. She goes over the top with her for everything. She wants for nothing. And it's cool. I used to spend a lot of money on my own shoes, and now I spend a lot of money on Noah's shoes. So the money kind of pivots to other people, mostly, to Noah, which is cool. And it's, that's how my dad was for me. My dad spoiled the shit out of me, for lack of a better term, when I was young. So I like being able to do that. It's fun.
Sean Kemp jerseys. What's up?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I'll never forget when I had braces. I had to have like 7 or 8 teeth removed. And for whatever reason, I was never a hockey player. It was like one of the only sports I didn't play, but I really, really liked Pavel Bure. He was a player on the Vancouver Canucks, and the day my teeth got removed, he got traded to the Florida Panthers. So when I wake up from getting all my teeth removed, there's my dad holding up this ginormous, authentic Pavel Bure jersey on the Panthers. I still have it to this day. It's still like a 5X, but I was just like, that kind of sums up my dad in one story. That there was never a moment that he wouldn't go the extra mile for me, for Matt, for us, and I want to do that for her. So it's easy.
that's beautiful. Matt will tell you that I forced him to play soccer with a concussion. I don't know if he was the same feeling at that.
I can't hear you, Dad.
Oh, I said that. Remember that time I told you to get back in when you had a concussion playing soccer?
What a pivot.
Yeah.
Well, all
right.
the best parenting things went through me first.
Yeah.
This is true. This is true. There's been a running joke in our family. My dad was, we got divorced, to just say it. My dad was divorced when we were really young, and I always looked to my brother as a father figure. And there's been a running joke that Matt's really been my father since I was like 12.
Whoa, we're getting to the good stuff right away.
Hey, you already said father figure. You might as well go for it quick. This has been a joke. My dad is my dad. My brother is my father figure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
both
I'll
great
tell you- I
dads.
wanna
Both
tell you
great
this.
dads.
Daniel and I are on a video call with Noah every Wednesday. And Noah, who's 18 months, 19 months old, first time says, "Hey, Matt." Like, what a thing. Uncle Matt hears, "Hey, Matt." Like, she was so excited, and it felt great. And Danny is a great dad. I mean, we all wish Danny was our dad. Sorry.
Well, I always said to, my mother when she was younger, they ran a preschool. And that has been kind of passed down to me. I've always loved kids. If I wasn't doing what I was doing, I've always said I'd want to run a preschool. I just, but there's no guys in that field. There's
No,
no guys, none. I don't know why, but not a lot of guys, with the 1 and 2 year olds changing diapers. It's just something that just doesn't happen. But maybe when I'm older, I'll do it because it's fun.
Hey, I've got a question. Like, the thing I'm probably most proud of both of you, aside from everything, is the fact that you guys are really close brothers. I mean, really close. Matt, just kind of like, I know how, Daniel and I have talked about how close you are. Tell me what it's like to have Daniel as a brother.
Daniel's a great brother. Daniel and I are, to your point, are as close as two brothers can be. We kind of get the privilege of being able to share whatever is on our minds. And I know me, I'm a better man because of it. We were talking, Danny and I, about like what we were going to share really about you as a dad too, kind of going back to that. And we kind of came to, we think one of the best, maybe the best thing you taught us was self-reliance. That is something that no matter, I think, whether you're a mom or a dad, you want to see that in your kids, the ability to know that, it's on you and you got to get to it. You got to solve it and you're capable of solving it. Human beings do an amazing job of getting through virtually everything. And, that's not something where my dad was like, Matt, this is the lesson, but more of through experience, we were able to kind of, gain that knowledge together. So I kind of think that closeness that he built between my brother and I has only played out over all these years. And, this lesson of self-reliance and the ability to get through things is something that he's taught in both of us. And I think you see that in how our lives have taken shape. So there you go.
I appreciate that. Hey, let's talk about something kind of funny for a moment. I don't know, you decide which one who wants to jump in, but when they were young little boys, we love sports. The three of us just love sports. We had a basketball court in a bedroom. We had a hockey set up in the basement. But maybe you could talk about the hockey experience with the Chatlins, because it was, like I said, we would do this every night. Like we'd get our homework done or get things done just so we could get downstairs and play hockey. So Matt, Vance, whoever wants to.
Well, I'll start first and then throw it to Danny, because like I remember, like that was for me like so much fun, and it was so like I'm 10 years old, sports, or maybe I was 12. Like I don't remember the exact age, but I was an elementary school kid, and my brother was a small, he was 3, 5. He was young at the time, and my dad had set up mattresses to line the basement so we could body each other into these mattresses. And then I would whip forehands and wrist shots that were so hard that my dad had eventually put on glasses to protect himself. And, it just kind of speaks. The Chatlins love sports, and the Chatlins all throughout growing up were competitive, but in a fun way. And, so a part of our lives. And, I look fondly on that today. I mean, I think competition matters.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's interesting. By the way, anybody who has a question, please don't hesitate. Raise your hand. We're a small group, but a great group today. The thing I liked the most was, I was involved with coaching their soccer, basketball, and baseball teams. So part of the reason why I coach is I could control the practice schedule. So I could not only coach Matthew's team, but I was also coach Daniel's. And the thing I loved about it was Matthew was my assistant coach, and Daniel was, what would we say you were? Because you were too young to be like an assistant coach. Would it be our slave? I don't know.
I was around. I was always in the dugout. I was following games. I was just present because I wanted to always be around you two.
Right. And it was just
around.
It was so much fun because we'd be, they'd finish school and we go to one practice from 4 to 5, the next practice 5 to 6. Then we'd maybe go out or whatever we do. But it was a lot of years of always being together like that. But, that was one of my best memories.
And thinking about, like, to bring it back to the food, think about, my dad was a lover of runny eggs. He loved runny eggs. Why? I don't know why. And then we had our pizza. We absolutely loved pizza together as a family. We would have like what we call drafts for chicken wings because some chicken wings are better than others. So he would choose whatever and we'd all choose whatever. But, our food, think about it. He was a 35-year-old guy with 2 kids and you just came back from practice. What do you feed these kids? And what you fed them at the time was eggs or pizza. And, wow, have things changed from that, right?
Hey, I got a question, both that maybe let's answer it individually. Like, maybe we'll start with Matt because, like I say that because Matt lives a vegan lifestyle. Now, I don't think, I wonder if it started because I became plant-based, was that how it first was introduced to you, Matt? Daniel is about ready to make some changes, but but he's aware. But what has it meant to you? Like, what have you seen in yourself? And maybe you could expand on it just a little bit, Maddie. Start with you.
Sure. So I, kind of tailoring it to that question and how you started. When you told me you were having those procedures, I had referenced to you, and I was trying to look it up here. It was either E. Colin Campbell or Dr. Esselstyn that was on Bill Maher, who does a show on HBO. He was on Bill Maher the week or the month before, right around that time. So I had, wow, why do we drink another animal's milk? That was the first thought that he dropped on me, and it made no sense. And like a lot of intelligent things I've learned in my life, I learn it and forget it, right? It doesn't really matter. And then my dad calls me up and says, hey, Matt, this terrible thing's happened to me, but I've gotten this advice, and you know what? I might try eating this diet. And I said, Dad, you wouldn't believe what I just saw. I just saw this doctor. And so we talked about it, but in no way was, my impressions had any effect really on his decision. But he went on and he ended up taking the choices he did. Whether it was 6 months or a year later, I'm not sure. But he had me starting to come to a couple of the meetings where, I'm going to the meetings. I see the results he had. I start talking to the doctors myself, asking whatever questions I was asking. The doctors then are relaying the data that is very vast. Okay. And so at that point, I asked myself one question that I'm surprised I don't hear a lot of people ask really is, what is the healthiest diet I can accomplish? And so for me, the healthiest diet that I can accomplish, my dad likes saying I'm a vegan to kind of, that's that competition we were talking about among the Chatlins. Because, I don't know why I'd be any less plant-based than what he has. And I love the fact that over what is now about 10 years of eating this diet, I've grown to see and ask these questions of, okay, what makes a cow, a pig, and a dog any different? If we're going to actually say that we're a predator animal, then why does a deer drink at a pond next to me when any other predator for a deer, it would run away from, right? So, there's a lot of questions that if you go down the path of how does an animal act? How does a human act? Why do we have no canine teeth? Like, there's a list of things you could start asking yourself about how does this apply? And you could go down further that hole, but the number one question for me was always, what is the healthiest diet that I could achieve? And so the healthiest diet that I can achieve, the goal of living forever is this.
I appreciate that.
You,
Hey, Daniel, you want to jump in on that? Or are you good with that?
Yeah.
No, I would just piggyback off what you said. First off, it was scary, because I never heard of this before. I don't think anyone, maybe other people had, but this was totally new to us.
Agreed. Didn't.
We had no idea. So it's like, oh, bypass, everyone's heard of that. You could take pills, everyone's done that. But let's skip all that and try this diet. And seeing him do it, it's been pretty wild, just for lack of a better term, that all these years later, you're still doing it and you now have this because of it. It's pretty amazing. I actually, when I was in Michigan, I never was like my brother or my father who, the no oil, the plant perfect. I was never that. But there was a run for like, I would say 9 months that I wasn't eating any animal products. And I got to say, unless you're willing to cook, it's a tough ask, and if you live with someone that doesn't want to do it, it's a tough ask. So back to dad or Matt's first point of being self-reliant. If you want to go down this path, you really have to do it all on your own, because if you have like a partner and they don't want to do it, like Tracy, my dad's wife, she's not plant-based by any means, but all these years later, he's still doing it because he's doing it. So,
And she totally supports all of these actions.
No, of course. And that shame on anyone who's like, oh, I can't believe you're doing this. It just takes a lot. Like I've seen my dad go through, restaurant trying to get people to cook, and they don't cook it the right way. It's not easy. Your life in some ways then revolves around your diet, and it's either that or bypass. And my dad chose this, and he's here happy, smiling about it now. Almost 10 years later?
Oh, a little bit more. Dan, you brought up something pretty, it's true, which is when I travel, I feel like I'm sometimes like I'm worried about like, where am I going to eat? What am I going to do? And it's just like, it almost takes over for where, instead of being enjoying where I'm at, I'm thinking like, because if I'm going to be there longer, I could carry food in the car for a couple of days if I had to. Never really like doing it too much, but I could manage. But if I'm going to be going to a location for a period of time, I feel like that's the most important thing. I've got to find, what am I going to eat? And because mentally, I could only have so many salads, and feel good about myself. I just, there's only so much salad I could eat, or vegetables I could eat. There's got to be a little bit more to it. So you're right. I mean, I'm thankful that, and I'm just honestly thankful that my family understands. Like they have put up with me and put up with it, and they understand. So I'm going to be heading out to see Daniel and the grandbaby next weekend, and the first thing I do is go to the grocery store, pick up what I need, and we'll figure it out. But it is. I would have thought after almost 12 years, it would be a little easier, but it is no easier.
There isn't. There's no accessibility unless you're going to the grocery store. There's just not that many places that are willing to do everything that you want. Like Sweet Green and Beyond Meat, all of these places that, want to claim how healthy they are, by your rule of law, really aren't. I mean, it's not. So there's just not as much accessibility. There's no place that I know of that has your food on a menu, Dad. Just yours, nothing else.
And to give you an idea too, this is interesting that when we were at the highest point of PBNSG, when we were live, I was involved, and we had 20 restaurants through Metro Detroit that had a plant-based offering. 20. And after COVID, and at this moment, we're down to 3. Now, just and it's because these people are trying to stay in business, and there's not enough people who are whole food plant-based. So it's a real challenge for everybody. Karen, asked a good question, which is, like, what do you tell people when I call it, people call it like a house divided, where, you're the only one in that family who's whole food plant-based. And I think Daniel kind of said it, and Matt said it, which is like, I always say, you do you, I'm going to do me. It's like, my wife, who's not whole food plant-based, we're close enough, and she is, the best friend I'll ever have, that she understands. But in a situation where you hear it, chirping, like, oh, she's having this or he's having that if they're plant-based, or just oh, I guess we're going to have to go to this place again, because that's what I'm used to hear from other family members occasionally. And
that was funny. That was very slick.
All right, so
Indo.
I wasn't talking
an hour and a half to make you egg rolls.
Okay.
Yeah. You got so frustrated when they would do it incorrectly.
Just, how many times you got to explain it, right? But I would say, just in general terms, you got to be, you just got to do you. You got to just sit there and say, it doesn't matter. Like I'd say to my family, my whole family, it wasn't just like Matt, Dad's, the entire family, Tracy's side. And I'd say, this is how I'm going to roll from now on. This is what I'm doing. They see me at every family event, bring my own food. I ask them, how much time does it take? You know, when is your dinner going to be ready so I can prep mine? You know, I mean, it's a lot of, hey, listen, what you get out of this is incredibly good health and you feel good as you get older. That should be that should be the motivation anyone should have. On the other hand, though, it's you have to prep your day. Every single day I wake up, go, okay, where am I going? Oh, what am I going to have in the morning? And then what am I going to carry with me if I'm going to be gone for 5, 6 hours or a day? And it's planning. But I kind of nipped it in the bud with my family and just said, henceforward, this is what I'm eating. You don't have to make me anything, but just leave me alone.
And Dad, to that point, we're talking about a basic truth here. Like, I'm just going to eat this way. This is a very basic truth. So if we can't handle basic truths, we have a lot of other issues.
Right.
And so this is not, it's
Thank
not.
you, Father.
Yeah.
It's not that dire. It's just food.
Yeah.
I always say that. I say that even though I'm not. It's just food. It really is.
Right.
It's just food. It's just your food. It's okay.
Yeah.
Who cares? That's what I think.
Yeah, I'm with you. So I mean, it's just, but it's tough. It's not easy. It's not easy. But again, I keep reminding myself when I'm feeling it's not easy is, hey, I'm 65. I feel good just about every single day.
What about when you wake up? That's something that from the plant-based world, when you're not in the plant-based world,
Ready to go.
Oh, going to sleep is so hard. Waking up is so hard. I'm like, stop eating animals. Let's talk about it's not hard at that point.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's true because I get up, I laugh and tell people I like live a farmer's life. I'm up at 5:30. But man, I wake up with so much energy. And here it is, 7:30. I got up at 5 this morning. I'm still humming. I'm still feeling, I like it.
I want to say, because not many people know, my dad pitched at Michigan State. Cool fact. He was a very good baseball player, player in high school. And do you feel more energy now? Or is it at par? I mean, you're an 18-year-old kid.
I mean,
maybe it's not. But tell me what you think about it.
I would say to you this. I had the same type of energy probably when I hit 30, 35, but in that 35 to 45, 50, I today have more energy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have today more energy, but so Matt, what are you doing, Dan?
I was taking out Bugsy. I told you, I got a lot of women here. Some need to go out, some need to eat, some need to have their diaper changed, some need money. It's a lot of things.
Well, okay, so Matt or Dan, you got a one dad story that you look back and kind of laugh or go like this. I've got a Matt Dan story, but
let's start with you.
I'll start with mine. All right. Yeah. So it was something happening in the house. And what I used to do is when they would both screw up, because a lot of times they do it together. I wasn't into this punishment, never hitting ever, if I could help it. I did threaten Daniel's life one time, but and here we are laughing. But I'd get him in the car. I didn't care what time it was. I'd take him to the beginning of the subdivision and I'd make him run home. Okay, no stops. I mean, it was like a mile home. And I'd say, okay, whatever it was, like I say, it's time for bed. And after 45 minutes, they weren't in bed. Whatever the issue was, is okay, in the car. So they get in the car, we go to the beginning of the subdivision. And one night, hold
on. I have to interject. This day, it started at Orchard Lake Middle School.
What?
The running.
No, that one particular run where the guy.
If you're talking about our neighbor that decided to come out of his house, me and Matt ran home from Orchard Lake Middle School.
No, this is a different one.
Okay, sorry.
We were only bad twice, though. Let's not.
So they're starting to run home, and some guy, this is at night now, cuts in front of my car and blocks me because he thinks I'm stalking 2 kids. So I get out of my car and I said to him, you better get back in your car. These are my 2 sons. And while he's and I are kind of nose to nose a little bit, Matt and Dan sneak into the car and sit down. So this guy finally understands how serious I was that he had to leave. He leaves. I look back at the two boys and they were about halfway through the sub. And I said, okay, we're starting all over. Took them back from the beginning, you know. So, yeah, but it was, listen, I mean, I will just say this. As a father, even though today, I think as a parent, you know, you just want to see your kids get along. And, you know, I've got another son, Shane, and the three of them are just that close. I got Matt and Dan's here today. And so there's nothing more important about, and you're right, Matt, each one is self-reliant. Each one is doing remarkably well. As a parent, I just, as a father, I could not be more proud and more happy. Saying that, I said, I just, you know, growing up, I had so much fun being a dad with them. And they were great. They were great. They were, and they still are, but it was a blast being a dad. It really was, you know, it was fun until Daniel got to be about 60.
Yeah,
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about it.
I had a lot of fun.
Oh, you did. You did.
It was
Matt,
fun.
do you have like a memory?
Well, I mean, there's a ton of memories, right? And you know, I gave no thought to this in advance, right? So just the story that would immediately come, and you know, this is all a theme. We were such a sports family, right? So one of our big soccer games, and my teams we were always loaded. So we were a first place team perennially. We were playing bad. So we're all of a sudden a bunch of 10-year-old kids, 11, 12-year-old kids. My dad says, hey, you guys are playing terrible. Go to the bench. So all of us sit on the bench. My dad picks up the bench and throws the bench. Some of the kids fall off the bench or whatever.
Well, those parents, those parents were like, remember the parents like,
oh yeah. I mean, everyone was in shock. Everyone was in shock. And then we went out and scored 7 goals. Like we just totally torched the other team. No one got hurt. You know, it sounds maybe, I don't know how it sounds, but it was something really
You could have
fun.
said, I threw the bench and individually socked every kid. I mean, right? No, it was just, I just made sure they weren't sitting on the bench. But
we needed a wake-up call, Dad. You know, and this is what PBNSG, you do for PBNSG. And we've talked about this a lot. Maybe not throw people off a bench, but it's set the tone. You know, there's a certain tone that when Paul Chatlin's a part of the team, you get a certain tone that isn't true if Paul Chatlin is a part of the team. And I love that about my dad. And, you know, I hope I bring it to my friends and the other people I'm around where, you know, they know what they're getting into, or maybe they don't when I'm involved. And so, you know, I think that being a member of PBNSG, I'm sure that people could say, wow, because of you, this happened. And, you know, that was one of the reasons you started this thing, Dad. So, you know, amen.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. And that's why, you know, Matt, it's interesting because, you know, PBNSG has been kind of floating, you know, it's not been growing as much. I mean, it's doing just fine, but just wait for those who are listening. The Sage Circle Alliance is a new project I'm working on, and I'm hoping it will be, as we call it, the new plant-based nutrition, the new something, the future of plant-based nutrition. That's what it's going to be. So hold on, Dan, you got a story?
Whoa, hold on. Now we're thinking of names. Yeah. What about the present of plant-based nutrition? Because present both includes a gift and it's happening right now. Okay.
I love double entendres.
Huh?
I love double entendres.
Okay.
You know, the word sage was a double entendre. Maybe it's too much double entendre. What do you think? All right.
I'm gonna go a little like sappy on this. I'm not gonna actually give a story. I would just say I always like admired my dad. I always wanted to be like my dad. Some people say that I am a mirror image of my dad by the way I look, the way I act, the way I treat people. And my dad doesn't have to do this. He doesn't. I've told him countless times to not do it. He's retired, but he's choosing to do it because that's who he is. He didn't have to coach me and Matt. He wanted to. He didn't have to. Millions of dads just sit on the sideline and complain. My dad coached the hell out of me. He got me into tennis. He got me into basketball. He got me into soccer. He got me into baseball. I did everything as a kid. And I watched my dad work all the time. He was in sales. I'm in sales. He works at home. I work at home. He's a great dad. I want to be a great dad. So you guys are lucky to have him. And I hope you guys all know that. And that's really all I want to say, because all the stories are, for me, Matt, and my dad, it really, you guys will laugh, but the truth is, you guys are just lucky to have him, and I'm lucky to have my brother and my dad, in my life, because my dad was right. When I was a kid, I was a knucklehead, and it took some navigating for me to get to where I am now, and without them, who knows?
Yeah, but you know what, Dan's, that, by the way, that was so super kind. I actually got goosebumps from you.
Good.
But let me say this to you, and Matt, you and I can say this back to Dan's. You made us you were just absolutely the most fun kid. He made us laugh every moment, every time we were around him, right, Matt? I mean, we would say he was random, but his whole day started with, how can I make my dad and brother laugh? And you did so well at it. We laugh all the time.
I golfed in just my underwear once. That was that happened. So there's a little tidbit.
Was that last year?
That went on. Yeah, it was last year. It was 6 days ago.
It was cold. It was really cold out there.
But no, like I said, it's been awesome. I wish, I'll say this to the three of us. I wish we were able to us three to do more stuff. Us three, just us three, because I know that's all it was for us up until like I was 13 and Matt went away to college. That we haven't had that. So even just doing this is pretty cool. Like, I know you made the joke of doing it once a week. I know we're not going to do that, but I would love us three to do more stuff like we did when we were kids. Because at least in my, what I would say, it was the best time of my life, other than having Noah, was when us three were doing cool stuff. So you're going to make me cry. So I'm going to stop.
Camera down.
Yeah. But no, like I said, just listen to my dad. That'd be one thing I always want to take to myself, is if I would be right. Like today, I asked him about tire pressure on my car. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and I listened to my dad.
Oh.
So
Matt, he's so beautiful, isn't he?
You're welcome. Why do you think I'm good at my job? Look at the emotions I'm getting out of you.
I'll buy an ad. I'll buy an ad.
I got you. It'll never end.
It's interesting you say that, because I just wrote something in my next open letter, and I was saying that I have some personal wishes, and one of them is, like, Daniel lives in Chicago, and growing up, my whole family lived 10 miles from me, so everyone was always together all the time. And even though FaceTime is good and Zoom is good, or just, calling, because I'm lucky enough, well, Matt and Dan's talk to each other every day. I'm pretty close to talking to Daniel every day, and Matthew puts up with me a little bit more because he is our father. But no, we talk a lot, but I miss, I wish Daniel lived closer. I wish that, but really, just to let everybody know, it's the fact that we could still have this, these moments, and when I see him, it just feels so good. But that's probably what I miss the most. I wish you lived a mile away like you used to, where I could come by and hang out and be with our baby little girl, that kind of stuff. But life isn't perfect for anybody. Who said life's not always easy. So I think we've had enough fun for one time. But Matt and Dan's, would you mind, maybe in a few months, maybe we'll do it when I'm down in Florida. Let's do this again. It was fun.
I'm in.
Sure.
Dan, Matt, you in?
I'm in.
I'll come prepared with some stories.
Yeah. More stories next time.
Maybe we could do a family song like we used to do.
My brother can't whistle.
I cannot.
Matt, Daniel and I would do this to him. It was.
All right, I gotta go, guys. I love you.
All right, Karen, thank you, sweetie. Thank you so much. Meryl, I'll talk to you in the morning. Matt and Dan's, I love you guys. Thank you.